Hello.
Hello.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back.
Live again. Ready to answer your questions.
What was that meme? Damn Daniel. Oh, back at it again. Back at it again with the white vans.
Pull it up, I don't know it.
Damn, Daniel.
Oh, damn Daniel. Yeah. It's a unicorn, right? Am I
What?
wrong? It's not a little unicorn? I thought damn Daniel was a unicorn meme.
No, it's just
I'm not hit.
it was like some high school kids and they would just would like follow around one of their friends and like take a video of basically like what he was wearing that day, like his shoes and his pants or whatever. And they would just say, "Damn, Daniel."
Because he was cool or not cool?
I don't know. I mean, they were kind of picking on him or whatever, but I
Okay.
think it's one of their friends.
That's funny.
But yeah, they liked his white Vans.
Well, I
or
know
black
I've heard the
Vans, I
damn
remember.
Daniel, but I could have sworn it was some kind of unicorn thing.
Definitely not a unicorn.
Hell, I don't know.
But you know them kids these days.
Yeah, they love that kind of stuff.
All right.
Today's episode is brought to you unofficially by Crowbar, South Congress, Austin. If you're in Austin and you want to get a drink, that's a great place to go.
That's a weird thing to say.
Why?
You getting paid for this?
No. No, it's just my buddy's bar. So since I got the shirt on, I thought, I'd do like what I did with Salsa Aloha and give us an unofficial sponsor till somebody out there maybe communicates that they want to sponsor the show, which we're open to.
Well, yeah. I guess we could wear some t-shirts.
Yeah, or have a bottle of whatever
that would be
Spirit wants to sponsor us, or
That would be
anything
cool.
like that, really. I mean,
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, guys. Looks like,
and girls.
yeah, first question, Joshi Anoop. How to set up tiers for tier-based link building. Is having more tiers give better results? So to have tiers for link building, you just have to build some links.
Right, you're
And
gonna
then-
build one layer links, and then another layer links, and possibly more layers.
Maybe
After that.
I'll get out Paint for
Yeah,
this.
that's a good idea.
All right, so do I got the right tool? Okay. So yeah, so here's your website, right? And then
Kind of sorry to
so
say.
there's your website, and then let's say here's your tier 1 links. And the tier 1 links just means
Directly pointing at your money.
they're directly pointing to your money site, and yeah. So maybe this one's a guest post, links to your website. Maybe this one is a citation. Maybe this one is Web 2.0. Maybe this one is a niche edit. Maybe this one is
Socials.
maybe a social profile like your Facebook, or it could even be another profile like YouTube or anything really. So this is your tier 1, and these are just links that are pointing directly to your website. And then for tier 2 would mean you just have you build some links and then link to these URLs. Basically, you link to your links, right? There's really nothing to it as far as setting it up. I guess just as far as choosing your tier 1 links, or choosing like what tier 1 targets you want to link to. You can just pick some of your basically your stronger links or your more relevant links that you kind of want to power up, basically, right? It just makes this link more powerful. You can link to these things as much as you want. With your tier 2 links, people usually use something a little bit cheaper. But you can use anything you want, really.
Yeah, in some instances, like hypothetical, let's say links to Facebook pages, YouTubes, things that are directly correlated to your asset. You might want to use higher end stuff because you could also end up getting those things to resonate in the SERPs either alongside your brand or directly for terms if you're making YouTube videos, things like that. So you might want to go a little bit extra if you stand to get extra traffic from the SERP you're targeting.
Yeah. I mean, so you're just basically thinking about it the same way as linking to your website, right? Getting links to your website makes it more powerful. Well, the URLs that you're getting links from, when you link to those, it makes them more powerful too. So you're basically just, you're beefing up your entire network, right?
Not to mention, you're making it look natural, right? Because it's very natural for a website to not only have links going to it, but for those links to have some sort of like history or press associated with them as well. And if you do that all in one motion, to answering the last part of your question, I would say yes, it does give better results. It's something that's commonly overlooked. There's not a lot of people that... in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's not a lot of people buying tier 2 links, but it definitely would be advantageous to do so. I do it myself. Chris does it as well. So, yeah.
What would you say about what links to use for your tier 2 links?
A really good option for me is our barrage links, our niche edit barrage links. Just because you can buy a lot of them, they're not junk links. They're real websites, real potential to at least gain some trust to your tier 1 assets.
So we probably show these every week because they're just so
they're
useful.
Just versatile, yeah.
But Barrage are they're one of our niche edits, and they're actually our weakest niche edits. So they're down here at the bottom, and so buying a pack of 10, actually it comes with 14, up to 4 bonus links is the smallest pack you can get. And yeah, these things are cheap. They're probably average about $20 per link or so. And they just they're nice for tier 2 because they're so cheap. And so you can basically, you could buy like this Barrage 30, and you could hit, like maybe even like 15 of your different tier 1 properties. You could send 2 to each or whatever you want to do.
Now, this would be a very good quality link to spread out across, a few different guest posts, niche edits, whatever, if you wanted to do tier 2 links. However, you can also, like let's say you've got a very limited budget, you're doing this on your own. Web 2.0s, forum links, things like that would definitely work just fine. You're going to want to use similar links to what you use to a tier 1 or that you would use in a tier 1 scenario. The reason for that is because Google crawlers can read back multiple tiers of links. And so if you try doing something that was like acceptable 5 years ago, for example, I used to do a lot of GSA for tiered link building. If you do that now, 9 times out of 10, depending on the SERPs you're going after, you're going to crash your site. Or at least hinder it substantially. And then on top of that, if you're spending a lot of money on quality tier 1 links, to go spam those links out is counterintuitive to what you should be doing. You should be building up and, taking care of this network, not spamming it out in any way, shape, or form and risking that, you could get volatility or at worst, some sort of penalty.
Yeah, just like when you're building links to your site directly, you want to think about your tiered link building basically in the same way that we always teach link building. You want a diversified, natural looking link profile. You don't want it to look too bad. You might be able to get away with some spam. You might be able to get away with, a ton of PBNs, like pointing to a single tier 1 link. But, we opt for a little bit more conservative approach than that, and build for the long term rather than short term wins. And with that, I'll say another popular option for tiered link building is like these are our one-time payment PBN links, not the rental, but just the one-time payment. And you can get whatever one you want. I'd say probably most people probably use like a cheaper option for it. And yeah, these will pump a little bit more power than the niche edit, but they're also a little bit more unnatural. So, if you're going to be using PBN links to power up your tier 1 assets, God, I can't believe I say that. Then yeah, just make sure you're adding in some other stuff as well, and not just sending a ton of PBN links to everything. And it can work.
Main thing I would note is if you're using PBN links, it's probably safer to use them on things like your social profiles or things that have high authority values versus random guest posts and things like that, because unless you're really digging into the link profile of each one and determining whether a PBN link can be used safely, it's probably not the necessarily best tool, but we do offer rolling PBN links, so that'd probably be a solid option versus like a rental or something like that, unless you're going to social profiles or something that could uh, increase traffic to your website.
And so like Nick was saying, if you're going to use some more like aggressive, a bit more unnatural link building, like if you're going to start doing some maybe some spam or just a ton of PBN links or something, then basically you want to use like a safer tier 1 target. One thing that people use a lot is like Web 2.0s, or you could do it to stuff like your Facebook profile, something like that. Basically just let it, I like to think of it kind of like a water filter, right?
Sure, yeah.
It's just it's such like a safe profile or whatever that it basically just filters out the kind of super unnatural, more risky types of links if you're going to be real aggressive with it.
Let's not forget that you can 301 to tier 2 and so forth as well. So if it is something that you've looked into and it warrants that you want a lot of power there, especially sometimes if it's like a newer project that I'd be working on, I'm going to start off probably looking at 301s or age domains to fit certain purposes, including tier 2 power-ups.
Just for like one more thing before we get off this question, what do you think like the most popular tier 1 targets are?
Probably social profiles, I think, right?
Like Twitter,
that's the main
Facebook.
thing that I see people actually actively doing. Like they know they can do it. They know there's benefit to it, especially when they're first starting out. It's like, well, I want to rank for my brand at least and fill up all those spots. But then people that are kind of a little bit more in the know probably do Web 2.0s quite a bit, and then 301s to Web 2.0s as they can sort of act like filters too.
How do you feel about tiering the guest posts?
I'm not a huge proponent of that, unless it's like I said, maybe doing like some niche edits or something like that.
Something a little more natural.
Like Barrage, yeah. Something more natural, because we're talking about a new page, right, with no power going to it, and then you've got to take in the variables of how strong that overall website that guest post is coming from, etc. So to me, if I'm going to be building to a guest post, then I'm going to be very clean about it. And technically, in some cases, that could get your guest post taken down by the person that runs the website if they're paying attention to that kind of stuff. So, just things to note. But I wouldn't get too aggressive. I probably wouldn't use PBNs on a guest post or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Not to mention, you can lose the link, right, over time. So why would you want to spend too much effort on something that you could potentially, not have at some point?
Cool. All right. Does submitting a single URL in multiple sites in a single day increase the spam score? Submitting a URL in multiple sites. Not sure if I know what you mean. You mean like submitting... I don't know if I know what you mean. Are you talking about like free guest post sites or something?
Oh, I guess so, right? Like maybe getting multiple links. Well, regardless, if you wanna give us a little more detail there, if you're still here, Joe. But what I'll hone in on here is the spam score. We're talking Moz spam score, I'm guessing. I don't actually know the answer to this question, but what I will say is that Moz spam score is not something that I look at all. It's not important. At least to what I do. I don't trust it, and oftentimes I see a spam score on something that is very valuable. So it's just not something I look at.
Yeah, like Nick said, I don't know how they calculate spam score, but it's also not something I've literally never looked at spam score to judge the value of a link.
Yeah. Mainly, I've just seen people complain about it's the spam score is too high. It's like, well, is it helping you or not?
And I guess, if it works correctly, it would just be, basically saying if their backlink profile was spammy or whatever.
I would think
I
so.
just don't, I don't even like Moz DA.
Yeah.
And spam score, I feel like would be kind of a trickier metric. And you can judge these things yourself, right? And I just feel like spam score itself is like a super like overrated metric that you see people talking about a good amount, and I think it's people who generally might not have as much experience ranking. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that.
I would agree.
I yeah, it's not something I pay attention to at all. You can look at the backlink profiles yourself and realize that sites get a good amount of spam. If you're doing SEO and you have a site ranked on page one anywhere, you've probably got a site or two that have received a pretty good amount of spam. And would a link from those sites still be worthwhile? They'd probably still be pretty dang good. So I just think spam and spam score, that's a bit trickier than wanting to use a metric to gauge it. I think it's kind of worth checking out the backlink profile yourself. Sorry, we can't answer it fully. We don't really know how the metric itself works.
But it's just better to get in the habit of combing those backlinks and the site itself.
Yeah, right.
On your own.
That's a good point. Metrics are like a good start. They can be a good starting point to look into something.
Yeah, like we use Moz for when we're doing keyword research initially, right?
Yeah.
It's not our favorite metric, but the Chrome app is very useful.
We could actually, we're just such like creatures of habit. We could use the Ahrefs one. There's an Ahrefs bar that does.
I didn't even know there was one. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much because we're not looking for a metric that tells us, oh, this is exactly what to expect. It's more like this is a very general idea.
Yeah, we're combing data, right? We start with like this tub full of it, and then we're just kind of funneling down. And so at some point, metrics, in the early stages are something you look at, but then you fine tune by looking in deeper.
For sure. And I think, like you say, spam score might be an indication to go check out the website yourself. So I wouldn't really so much worry about the spam score. I would, if you do want to look at spam score, I would just say, okay, I'm going to go look at the links now because it has a high spam score, and then judge for yourself. But then I will say that I know it's tricky. I just feel like spam is really kind of misunderstood.
That's why it's like, just toss it out. I haven't looked at spam score on a website in years, and I'm doing just fine.
So if it says it has a high spam score, you go and check it out. My then word of advice to you would be that a lot of people overestimate the damage that some spam links can do to a site. It's tricky to judge yourself, but you just look at the health of the site. Look at the keywords and traffic graphs. Just make sure it's kind of holding some kind of like positions and rankings for its keywords or whatever. If it's got decent rankings and it's got some spammy links and a high spam score, a link from that website can still be very worth your time. Just use it to look into things a little bit more. Don't take it on its own or really worry about the spam score of a site as much as it's gonna like really tell you the worth of a link from that site. Kind of a rambly answer.
That's all right. I feel like we could, if we found like a sample of 5 with bad spam scores or just like spam scores that would be unacceptable to some people, and then actually audited the links, we'd probably be able to do some damage. We might think about making that post.
Yeah, that would be cool if you've got some, if anyone that's listening has got some domains that have higher spam scores and you want to know if a link is worth getting on them.
Yeah, we could audit
If
them.
you yeah, if you would show the domains to us, we could audit them live and let you know what we think. Okay, let's see. All right, so the question is, can someone explain how to me a competitor site can jump to DR 54 from zero in just a few months? I'm trying to wrap my brain around what this person did. So we have the URL, but I'll just go ahead and say they probably built a ton of links.
Mm-hmm.
Second. I guess I could Google the title.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
There we go. All right, just bear with us 1 second. I'm gonna get logged into Ahrefs and pull this site up. All right. Yep, so it's DR54.
Okay, let's go over what DR is for the newer people, I guess.
DR is domain rating. It's just Ahrefs score. It's kind of like Moz DA. Basically, just lets you know the overall authority, overall power of the entire domain rather than a single page on it. And yeah, you can see they've got about 1,000 referring domains, which is a good amount. And you can see that they built all of these links in a very short amount of time, right? They started building at the end of November. And yeah, so within, it looks like it really picked up right at the beginning of March or end of February. And they just built a ton of links really fast, right? And yeah, you know, these scores like Moz DA, Ahrefs DR, they're largely based around, or pretty much entirely based around the links going to your website and the quality of the links that are going to your website.
Size of site, no?
Huh?
Size of site?
I don't really know if they factor that into it, to be
Me neither,
honest.
actually.
We can look at the size of the site though.
Yeah, worthwhile.
It's actually pretty big. They've got 846 URLs indexed. If you don't know how I did that, I just type in site colon and then the URL. And it tells you right here the amount of URLs that are indexed on the site. Yeah, so it's a pretty large site, and they've got a bunch of backlinks. Yeah, and they're pretty much killing it right now, right?
Yeah, easier niche it seems like maybe, but yeah, just building a site. Let's check out the quality of
Look at
their
that
links.
traffic.
Nice.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's check out anchors.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like maybe they're doing a
301.
yeah, right here you can see we have coffeechannel.com, but their domain is coffeeaffection.com, so it looks like they're probably doing a 301 or something. Let's go ahead and look at the backlinks real quick. Or it looks like they probably actually have multiple 301s. 'Cause down here you have coffeeratings.com, coffee channel. Oh, we already did coffee channel.
Yeah.
Let's look at backlinks. And yeah, you can see the 301 tags over here. Is there a way to make it so just show only 301 links?
Link type, I think.
Time.
Redirect. So yeah, the two.
Okay. But does it tell you? Okay.
And so that constitutes
so
206 of their referring domains.
that's actually less than I thought it was going to be.
Same. But nice,
Is that? Huh.
very niche down. And then they sent them 1 month apart, it looks like. And then let's see what kind of other
I
links they're
want to
doing.
point out something real quick. If you guys remember, we showed the influx of links really start taking off at the end of February. So that'd be kind of where this This is actually mid-February and the beginning of March. So it's basically right around the time they're adding these 301s. Links are really starting to skyrocket, right?
If we wanted to dig deeper on this, we'd look up whether those two domains had been around for a while, actually, like, had content on them in the SERPs for a while, or if they were, just sitting or expired. And we do that by going to archive.org and checking them each out. But
so it's right around here, February 9th, that the first one was added. And then I think the other one was added around here.
And let's see if they're keeping the links nice and clean that they've got coming in. Because, I mean, they could be purchasing links, right? But they could also be getting them naturally. So I saw some coupon stuff. Are these probably like guest posts, I'm guessing?
These are all the 301s so far.
Oh.
Okay, coupon codes. Some kind of non-relevant stuff.
So it looks like...
Can you make it show like links that aren't 301?
Probably. Link type without redirect chain. But see,
Only
230
200?
doesn't...
Sound right.
No, it doesn't.
And here are the two with the reader.
Well, so we see all the high DR stuff is coming from
the 301s.
What if we just sort by that, but back to normal?
Okay. Yeah, so it's sorted by DR right now, and you can see all their high DR stuff. Then you start getting into like the ones that they look like they've added themselves, and they're
Right.
not so relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like negotiating jobs. Here's an actual relevant one, but then they're doing the spammy Google whatever these things are. These Google
Open it.
redirects or whatever they are. Oh, never mind. I thought it was something completely different. I'm stupid.
There's some directory, right, or something, or aggregator.
It looks like that.
I
just want to see what they've been adding themselves.
That's kind of what I'm interested in. Is like, are they keeping it clean, or are they?
Let's just look what they got here. So some kind of
Methcoffee.com. Number 3.
descriptors, 31301. Some coffee stuff on
The Frisky, that's a
Web
big
2.0.
it's a big Fiverr one.
Here's a relevant one. Okay, we're seeing
At a
some
glance,
coffee
I would
stuff.
say that they're
It's not horrible.
buying links. Yeah, it's not horrible. It's just mixing a bunch of different links together. And if you know how we preach diversity, it looks like this person's doing that all right. So
Like,
what are they doing?
It's not great, but it's not horrible, right?
Plus, they've got the good link profile from the 301. So here's what they did: new site, 301s to get the ball rolling to increase trust flow just right out of the gate. Keep the backlinking going with what looks like cheaper links, but not terrible links, and then increase the content over and over again. And so, like, you've got a full SEO picture with heavy backlinking, meaning they're emulating natural buzz. Content's going up and it's getting eaten up. And then I guess, if yeah, well, I'd probably keep it at that. But yeah, that's the secret to their success. Yeah, some of this stuff is on the nastier side, but
Yeah,
to
I
me it
kinda
looks
take
like
it.
somebody who 301 two things or two domains and then is on Fiverr buying gigs.
Yeah, I kind of want to take what I said back. A lot of these
I wouldn't say it's bad though. I mean, like, obviously look at how
like
fast their site has grown.
Yeah.
I don't know what that site's making, but I'm willing to bet it's doing well enough to warrant this technique.
Yeah, I just wonder how long it's actually going to work for, right?
Yeah.
We just see a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Some simple type guest post.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're a heavy Fiverr user.
Yeah. So 301s and then a bunch of really cheap links.
Right, but content continually being added, right? And we didn't do any on page, but given how well it's ranking, I'm going to say they have a decent grasp of how on page is supposed to work.
Let's go ahead and check out their.
It's a nice
looking site.
Yeah, really nice site.
It's a really good looking site.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times, like, Greg used to talk about that. If you spam a site out and get it to position 1, just if it gets used a lot, then a lot of times you'll stay there. Now, you might drop off for other organic keywords, or you might stunt your ability to grow a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, so 301s and a bunch of cheap links, right? These guys are getting a ton of traffic. You just have to judge, how much money did you spend and how much money are you making in the possibly short time that this thing is going to rank for.
I mean, organic traffic is usually about double what Ahrefs says it is. So we're talking about, probably in Search Console or Analytics, you're getting 150,000 people to that site. They've done it in 5 months and a couple days. So I would say they're probably doing pretty well.
Well, it's working.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I wanted to check. Best. We've seen worse.
It's not too far off what we saw last week with the ones that were getting hit. So, we'll see. It'd be cool if whoever asked this question wants to monitor it and bring it back up to us a little bit later so we can see how it's doing.
What percentage would you say this is that's best? Maybe like 70%?
It's looking like something like that at a glance.
Maybe more. Yeah, maybe about 70, 60. I don't know.
And we'll see. These could also be somebody that's like just gearing up to auction this site off too. Goodbye.
I wonder how much money they're making right now.
I would venture to guess quite a bit.
So
What's one of these bad boys go for?
All Amazon. Probably. Anyway, hopefully that answered your question. All right. See what's next. Hello, Yaniv. Go over to Yaniv. Oh, my eyes are so dry. I don't know why.
I think there's also allergies on high today.
Hey guys, I found an expired domain that is niche specific with only 3 backlinks, but highly relevant with DR 50 plus. DR 50 plus with 3 backlinks.
Yeah.
The DR of the
It can happen.
Oh, the 3 backlinks. The 3 backlinks are DR 50 plus. Okay. The DR of the domain is only 2.5. Is it worth buying for those 3 backlinks?
This is going to be heavily up to you. It reminds me of when I first started building PBNs. I was also working on a local project, and I'd sourced a handful of local domains that had very few backlinks, but they were very geographically relevant, so I purchased them, and they did help. However, basically you're going to have to take into account your return on that investment in the understanding that you're going to have to pay registrar fees and hosting fees for this domain. So quite honestly, when I was newer, I remember searching for things that met this criteria, but probably had links from like Forbes or Entrepreneur as well, and I would buy them up. I don't do that anymore, simply because it just doesn't make sense to me with that low an RD. But if I was back to working on just like one project exclusively, and this could really beef up some niche relevance, including getting me like some really high-end links in that niche, then
Define really high-end links.
okay, let's say I've got a website about
Coffee.
robot kittens.
Okay.
And then I find this expired domain that's niche specific, and I find that it's got 3 links, and I'm thinking about making it a PBN.
Like, how good would those 3 links need to be?
I'm talking about like entrepreneur, about entrepreneur.com or forbes.com or something like that.
It's like if they're getting linked to from those sites, they're usually gonna have more than just the 3 links.
Sometimes you can find stuff like that. Like, I'm guessing what he's found is something kind of interesting like that.
He says DR50 plus, which isn't exactly the highest.
It's not that high, no. I was actually picturing that. I'm like, oh yeah, 50 plus. That'd be like from the website we just saw. I'd probably pass.
Yeah, I'd probably
myself.
pass too. I would say like the minimum I'd look for would be like, if it's a really niche relevant domain, maybe like 15 or like 20 links would probably be kind of like the smaller sized sites I would look at.
Hypothetical. If I was working on a project, this was super niche down, I was already on page 1, it was very hard to find things that were relevant in this topic, then maybe I would buy it just to get that competitive edge against competitors. But the search volume would have to warrant me spending that money, right? We're talking about a couple bucks a month in hosting and $10 a year registrar, or a lot of times even more.
Yeah, three links, just
pretty rough.
It's pretty small.
I think we answered that. Yeah, and if you want to use that as a 301, which I think is what it's looking like, I would pass on it. Unless, and the only time I've done that, I still wouldn't do it for 3 links. I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be worthwhile. Yeah, I would say pass.
All right, I think it's a separate question from Yaniv. Can a 301 redirect backlinks be used to close the link gap? So if I need 20 DR50 plus, can a 301 with those links close the link gap? Yeah, absolutely. The thing with 301s is they can be kind of weird, right? They don't necessarily always work. But when they work great.
Yeah, or you have to wait a long time, and sometimes you'll get the feeling that it was like rotten, but it's not necessarily the case. So vet your links like really heavy, make sure that the 301 is pretty niche relevant and clean.
Yeah, you want it to be as like close to your topic as possible, right? Just to really increase the chances that, to increase the chances that the 301 is actually going to work, but B, so then you have, links that are actually relevant for what you're going after. But yeah, they can absolutely be used to close a link gap. You can just think about a 301 as it kind of passing on all the links to your website instead of the original site, right? Anything else to add about that?
With 301s, just also remember matching like URL structure and all of that kind of stuff can increase your ability to make it work. Versus like if there's a bunch of links that you're 301ing directly to your homepage that used to go to like inner links, etc. So there's ways that you can do 301s that are going to increase your chances of getting them to work. So dot your T's, cross your I's.
All right. What would you do with this domain? Over 500,000 backlinks.
I'd make tons of money.
Well,
Yeah,
you know
what's the
that
quality we're talking?
the most popular SEO answer of all time would be, it depends. So yeah, it would depend, how good are the backlinks. And then it's also going to depend on, basically how relevant they are, as far as what you're going to try to
Sure.
do with it, right?
I'll tell you this. I bid $12,000+, which was the most I ever bid on a domain, and I lost that auction. Still, it was me and one other person going at it. But it had, if I remember correctly, 27,000 referring domains in the tech niche. Very clean. And that was a monster site. So if we're talking 5 million clean backlinks, we're talking about a very expensive big business website.
Yeah, that's a lot of
If we're
links.
talking 5 million, like I see whenever I'm on Register Compass or on Spamzilla, going through a bunch of domains, we're talking about spammed out.
But yeah, here's the thing is, the person that's asking this question, normally you would not ask this question if you had a budget that could afford a website with 500,000 good backlinks.
Yeah.
So what I'm guessing is more than likely is this site's extremely spammed out and it's got 500,000 backlinks. What
would I do with a good one? I would start a whole business, start off with affiliate, and then
so yeah, if it's a really good one,
transcend.
I'd probably want to do a money site on it
For sure.
if possible. But yeah, I mean, you could also look into like 301ing or make like the greatest PBN of all time.
Dude, if I got one website, yeah, right. I remember there was somebody with a PBN. When I first started selling links, they were out there with a mega site like that they'd turned into a PBN. And looking back on it now, I'm just like, that's fucking hilarious that's what they did with it. Because you just have so much more opportunity doing other things than risking a site like that. It seems like an intense shame right now thinking about that. But hypothetical, what would we do with it?
Well, now let's
start off with an affiliate site and then work it towards e-com.
So let's go back now and answer the question: what would we do with the domain if it has 500,000 of probably pretty spammy backlinks, which is probably the case.
500,000. I was like, I was reading 5 million.
Still 500,000's a ton.
Yeah, it's a ton. Yeah.
So same question. What would you do with the site if it has 500,000 of, real spammy backlinks?
So you can use sites like that. So hypothetical, if you're like hunting them at auctions.
What would you look for first before you used it for anything?
Are they indexed? Are there multiple pages indexed? And does it seem like, historically there might have been some trust in the SERPs? Because if you find something like that, then it means the spam is resonating at least somewhat positively with that asset. And so you can then use it to do any number of things. One big one I like to do with sites like that is turn them into PBNs. You've got to be careful with how you use those kinds of PBNs, but if you get them to work, that's a very valuable piece of equipment.
And how much would you pay for something like this? If it was, pretty spammy, but it kind of checked out.
You can probably buy stuff like that. Well, it depends. The auctions. A lot of the auctions are always. People get really excited, and there's a lot of new players here. So like GoDaddy auctions, you might get into a bidding war with something. But hypothetical, let's say I'm just hunting expired domains or really cheap, still indexed domains. You can find these for like $10 to $50 spammed out. The trick is just looking for spam that can be usable. And to kind of gauge that, you really just have to go through a lot of it and then try using a good amount of it. Or if you go through websites like we've done here, where we look at some spammier domains that are getting some traction in the SERPs, you'll start to recognize patterns of tools that you can use to get similar results. So combing through the data, is going to be your best resource, really.
All right. If you can get a link exchange, is it better to go for guest posting or link insertion?
If we can't say mix and match, because that, diversity is key, but if I was only allowed to pick one, I'd go with a link insertion, just based on it having more history than a guest post.
Yeah.
But then
I'm
see,
just gonna say
go
it
opposite.
depends.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, you would be getting, both guest post and link insertions, just like we preach every other day. Link diversity is key. The footprint of a guest post and the footprint of a niche edit or a link insertion are different in that, one has age and established trust and the other is a brand new URL. But then of course, if it's a guest post on the brand new URL, it might be a little bit more relevant. You can still get really relevant link insertions. It just tends to be not quite as relevant. But yeah, both could be good. But also just to comment a little further on this, I wouldn't go too crazy as far as link exchanges go. If you want to get like a couple links from link exchange, I'd say that's okay, but I really wouldn't go too much further than that. You'd want to, for the bulk of your links, I'd either stick with doing the outreach yourself, or having a team do the outreach for you, or just buying them. Rather than doing the link exchange.
Yeah, don't go overboard with link exchanges. But
Yeah,
like
but
Chris said, a few is fine.
a few is
If you're
fine.
doing normal link building in the process as well, then yeah, go ahead and take the link.
Yeah, it's not natural. It's not, that is its own footprint as well. You're linking to a website and they're also linking to you. So if Google comes by and they see your website and they see that 90% of your links are you linking to a website and them linking back to you, that is not normal, right? That does not exist in the real world. And it's very easy for an algorithm to spot something like that. So throw in a couple if you want, and then go back to your normal stuff, outreach or buying.
Because on the same token, it is natural for certain sites to have sister sites or partner sites, etc. So the idea of a link exchange isn't completely out the window.
It can happen. It can happen, just not in like high percentages of your link profile, right? So just don't go crazy with it. I would kind of think about them kind of like PBN links, right? Just maybe a few every now and then is okay, but don't go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, and it could actually work.
Yeah.
But you could also get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, best practices not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, it's just like if you're new to watching us, or maybe we've never really explained this, but most of what we preach, we're preaching like best practices, right? You can generally always get away with doing more aggressive stuff than what we're saying. It's just that generally people that are asking us questions are kind of newer to SEO. Maybe they're not super advanced or whatever. And so, for these type of people, we're giving more just best practice type answers, so you can avoid your one project that you're like experimenting into SEO with, or your one or two clients or whatever. We don't want you getting in trouble. These things can work. Things that we say are horrible, they can still work. It's just your likelihood of getting in trouble is a lot higher. Yeah, we just want you guys to build safely, especially if you're building for someone's site that's not your own.
Yeah. Just started my local agency, gonna spam them all out.
But it's so common because like a
So
lot of
common.
a lot of like the courses and a lot of like the appeal of SEO is like, look, I just did this, and this, and now I'm ranking websites, and
Dude.
I already got a client that's paying me $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this too and work from home. You just lost your job in COVID.
Dude, yeah.
So like, please, like
Yeah.
if you're doing client sites, stick to best practices. Don't get aggressive. These are people's like actual businesses, right?
Yeah, and you
Like
can't hurt them.
brick and mortar
And chances are,
businesses.
if you hurt them, you're not going to know how to fix them.
Yeah.
And then if they have to come to like somebody else to fix it, it's going to cost them substantially more than if it, was kept clean.
Oops. Little rant there. Little.
I feel like we need a talking stick, like a pointing stick for when we get really aggressive.
That wasn't too aggressive.
Well, I know, but it might help with it.
All right. All right. One sec. Okay. So next question. Hey there, do you have good experience with coupon or discount code websites as potential backlink juice? Um,
So this was abused a while ago, and so the abuse is still well known and cataloged, and it doesn't make sense. However, it does make sense for businesses to create coupon codes and send them out. So long as you're not doing them in some kind of insane frequency across a ton of sites, and you're just getting them on, the major coupon code sites, like Retail Me Not or whatever, then yeah, it is going to help you out. But I would consider it more of like a pillow link. Like if you saw that website that we just checked, they had coupon sites
yeah,
associated with
they
them.
had a bunch. What I'm wondering is basically why this question is being asked. And if I had to guess, they're asking because they checked a website like we just did, and they saw that it was ranking very well, and they also had a bunch of coupon links. And what I will also say to that is that if you're ranking pretty much anywhere, um, your site will actually just start to accumulate these things on its own for no reason, and maybe even quite a lot of them, depending on what niche you're in. Um, so yeah, if you were like checking out some sites and noticed they had a bunch of coupon codes, and you're like, hey, maybe I should get some of those coupon codes. They're not something I ever build myself. They just kind of come naturally, kind of like spam, right? But yeah, they're not something I would really go after. Have you ever gone after?
Ordered them?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all part of diversification, though. If you're not abusing them, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But don't get on Fiverr and order 1,000 coupon links to a fresh website and expect it to really give you a boost.
Yeah, I would just handle with care or just stay away. Not something I'd really focus on. Let's see. Yeah, this is one asked a lot,
I
actually.
got a recent answer.
What are your go-to content creation platforms? I've found a number of them, but want to stay away from ones like Fiverr and The Hoff.
Yeah, so another really popular one that people order from is iWriter. Pretty low-end content in my opinion. Or the highest price
Which
stuff
can be
is
fine
still just
depending on what
whatever.
you're doing.
Yeah, just the prices are going to be a bit higher. Now, one that I have tried recently, and I'm kind of already regretting that I'm going to tell you guys because they were late on the order, but the content was really well written. I was very pleased with it. At the price is contentpit.com if you want to pull it up and show them. But yeah, I tried them out and then ended up leaving them a good review because I got exactly what I wanted. And granted, like I said, and they were substantially late on the order, but I got the content and it
How
was
late is
really
late?
good. A couple weeks.
Oh, okay, that's real late.
But I ordered 10,000 plus words, right? So
What kind of content were you ordering from them?
affiliate affiliate content.
Big affiliate article?
No, multiple articles.
Okay. So
But yeah, the order process was very simple. And they did stress that at the time I ordered, they were dealing with some issues that might make things late. So, like I said, not the end of the world. I'm not somebody who's doing one thing at a time. So when it arrives, then it's push forward and, get it moving. But overall, I was really happy with the price I paid and the level of content that I got.
So basically looks like, excuse me, 1,000 words for around $50. Of course, it's cheaper if you buy more. That's actually a good amount cheaper if you buy more. Like 25% cheaper or 20% cheaper. Anyway.
Right, yeah.
So like what level, how would you compare this, this content to like an iWriter? Would it be like standard, premium, elite plus, or even better?
Elite plus.
Plus.
See, I haven't ordered from iWriter in quite some time because I had purchased the highest quality content, but it was just such varying degrees and what that was. I was never happy with the expensive content. I might use cheap content to throw up a PBN real quick or something like that, but that would be the extent I used iWriter. Content Pit's the first one that I tried out that I was pretty happy with. Now there's a couple other I think out there like.
Well, just one more thing just before we get off this, so you can see 1,000 words for $72 from iWriter, or it'd be 1,000 words for $50 over here. So you're saying similar quality between those two tiers.
Watch now, it's all gonna go up. Well, remember Content Pit, I plugged you here, okay? So
who runs this? Do we know them?
I don't think so. No, they sent like an automated email asking if I would, leave them a review. And
Nick loves automated emails, by the way.
I love them.
if you've got something to sell, just send Nick some like automated emails. Okay, so Content Pit, iWriter, what's another one we can look at?
I think Content Hero, right? That was Joe's company. I haven't tried them.
SEO Content Hero?
Maybe, yeah.
ContentHero.uk?
SEO Content Hero, I think. I'll know by the logo. It's a Superman, dude. Yeah, here we go. So I believe these guys are supposed to be pretty good too. But like I said, have not tried.
It's a little bit more expensive. So for 1,000 words, you're looking at $120. I don't know if I got like discounts or anything. You said you have ordered from here, or you haven't? No.
No, he was gonna do a podcast with us.
So as far as Content Pit goes, like what would you use this content for? Would you use it for PBN content?
No.
Mm-mm. So
no, it's good. It's quality content. So would you money site stuff?
Would iWriter be your PBN content go-to?
That would be a better option, yeah. Standard.
Maybe
premium if you want to keep it a little bit higher tier. Gotcha. But on iWriter too, even with the low quality stuff, you're gonna have to look. A lot of times I'll rerun things through Copyscape and find that is plagiarized. There's some like Weasley ways to work around however it works.
iWriter really is a pain as far as like the amount that they try to the writers try to weasel.
There's a lot of weaseling going on.
If you're in like the lower tiers.
Not to bash iWriter though. I mean, like it's a good service. I used them a lot when I was first getting involved in building PBNs before we started in housing everything.
Any other good options for very cheap content for stuff like PBNs or just stuff you don't care about as much? Or is iWriter kind of like
Fiverr? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't ordered content off Fiverr or anything like that. Yeah, no, not really. I'm like, some people go to archive.org and pull all the old information and use them for PBNs.
But yeah, whenever I'm doing really cheap stuff that I don't really care about, I'm normally doing iWriter. And then as far as like the better stuff, I've never tried Content Pit myself, so I can't really give an opinion on that. But if Nick says they're good, they're probably pretty good.
I like them.
Or
what do you use again?
Cultivating your own writers, I feel like is a very good way to go as well. We've actually got a couple writers that we've worked with for some time that we've kind of grown with for quite a while now that we use for a lot of are, quality content. Where you find these people can pretty much be anywhere. It can be someone it could be in a Facebook group like what's the name of that one group?
Cult of Copy.
Copy.
They're really expensive and really pretentious, though. Everybody thinks they're
I'm not going to pull it
Hemingway
up on
in
my
there.
Facebook because I just don't feel like pulling up my Facebook. But that's Cult of Copy on Facebook, and yeah, they can.
If you go in there and you offer like $40 for 1,000 words, which I've seen somebody I know do, which to me it's fair. If that's what's in your budget, like if somebody doesn't want to take that amount of money, they don't have to write for that amount of money. But if they do, then there's the offer. But you'll get countless snobs in there like, nobody can write anything with that. It's like, do you work for the New York Times or some shit? Like, who are you? But anyhow, a lot of egos in there. But you can find, on the same token, you can find the cream of the crop editorial style writers in there as well. So if you're looking for really high quality content, you might be able to find it in there, like well-researched editorial style stuff, but you're going to be paying for it.
Yeah, that you're definitely paying in Cult of Copy. You might get lucky every now and then, find someone, which could actually end up being really worthwhile. Then you could want to really
if you got
cultivate the relationship
budget,
with that person.
But see, then on the same token, like if you read what a company like Vice pays their authors,
but it's also
they basically
Vice.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
They
saying.
just
They don't
write for Vice.
But any of them, like they don't get paid that much unless they've got a very big name. So they basically hire a bunch of writers, keep them in an office, slave driving away, paid on salary, and they've got to meet all these quotas, etc. The freelancers, they're cashing in pretty hard.
Yeah, but I'll just say Vice. Vice is a little bit different because people really want to write for Vice. It's like a stepping stone, basically.
Okay, well, any random blog that operates, right? So
they
like,
they don't want to operate for Nick's sweatshop.
No, but they do. They do. That's the thing. Like, you can pay writers $3,000 a month, and then sit and give them insane quotas that they have to meet. And every month they're in there in the office typing away. It doesn't have to be for Vice. That's the model. If you're looking at big companies paying content writers,
Vice
that's
can
how it
get
works.
away with paying much cheaper for some higher.
Okay, well, let's ignore
stuff.
Vice though. Like, you're holding on to that. It's like it doesn't matter.
Company.
Yeah,
it's not a fair comparison.
It is.
And I'll also say that finding your own writers. I actually don't want to I've got a way to find writers that I kind of don't want to share.
Don't share it.
But what I will say is this. There are pockets of people out on the internet, whether it's in some kind of group or some kind of forum or basically just somewhere on the internet, there's pockets of people that you can tap into that are looking for work or that know about a specific topic or whatever. And yeah, you can tap into that, and it's kind of beating around the bush a little bit. And yeah, I'm sorry that I don't want to reveal my treasure trove.
It's a think outside the box scenario, right? Like, who do you think is going to be cheaper? The person that knows how to make money on the internet, or the one that's looking for ways to make money from home that doesn't really know, but knows how to write, maybe knows a niche really well?
Yeah, there's ways to get, for quality content for a bit cheaper from someone that's not really a writer. And anyway, you have to find that on your own, because I put in
that's
the
a
time
good
and the
enough
brain
tip
power.
though. It's like, just go out there and start imagining where these people might be. Internet's a big place. They're all over.
All right. Anything else we can add to the content?
No, I was just really thrilled with Content Pit, so I guess we'll leave them a nice positive review.
Content Pit. Yeah, I mean, it's actually
it was
it's not. I'm definitely gonna have to try them out at some point. All right. Let's see.
Maybe we should just start our own Content Pit type scenario someday.
Start the
content
sweatshop.
No.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are.
Content, is the number one thing you need if you're getting into SEO. It's like, that's what makes the wheels turn, right?
All right. Hey guys, what do you do when someone hit your page with spammy links? I heard that disavowing them is not the best option. Oh, you heard something useful. So we just leave spammy links. Um, so
If your rankings are going up, if everything is normal, if everything seems like you're doing well, then leave them. And if you are starting to tank and do real bad and it looks like you're getting adverse effects from that spam, then a disavow may be a good option. Or before a disavow is prodding with quality links to see if you can't get that traction, that influx back in the SERPs. Um, Disavow we usually keep as a last recourse of action.
yeah, disavow is a last resort. I About what you just said though, about like if your site is tanking, I feel like a lot of people, their site will be tanking, and yes, they are getting spam links, but then there's like something else horrible that
Yeah.
they did, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's these links that are
Oh,
killing me.
yeah, it's too easy to jump
And it might
to.
be that they pushed them over the edge, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
they had all this other stuff that you were doing like really bad, like horrible anchors,
Yeah.
just whatever. Maybe you got all the best articles or low quality content, or your link profile is not diversified. You got a ton of PBNs, whatever. You have your own low quality links that aren't quote spam. Um, so you be sure, check everything else and make sure there's not something else that's the problem before you start disavowing the spammy links. I guess you could just do them anyway if your site's tanking, just because
I mean,
it wouldn't,
yeah,
well, it shouldn't hurt.
if you're building your site, if it's an older site, right, that's been developing over time, and you've diversified well, you've built a lot of content out, etc., it keeps growing. Getting hit with a little and sometimes a lot of spam is not going to adversely affect you. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, in most cases, you just want to move forward, keep building quality links, good links with good anchors, including a lot of natural stuff, URL anchors, branded anchors, generic anchors, and you basically just keep moving forward. Uh, you know, the thing about the spammy link attacks is they're generally pretty low effort. Uh,
yeah, not many.
there's not I haven't really seen like a complex like negative SEO attack in a while. It's just kind of like real low effort type stuff where they're just throwing tons of like, porn links or Viagra links or whatever kind of links at your website. And Google, if you have a good link profile and you're doing everything else right, Google's pretty good at saying, this is kind of um, it's just over the top. It's
Yeah.
not like it would be. I feel like it would be more harmful if you were just building a bunch of exact match anchor
Yeah.
links yourself rather than a spam attack with a bunch of like just whatever anchors. Um, yeah, so disavow, last recourse. Keep moving forward with natural link building. Keep moving forward with adding quality content. And yeah, if things start to really take a turn south and you've really analyzed everything and you think you're doing everything else right, then disavow can be in the cards, but last resort. Anything else? All right. Sergey. Sergey says, I know a few of the content resellers. They charge you $100 for content that costs $40. All about, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like any other business, right? They have to make money. So like I was saying, I like to, kind of cultivate my own writers in a lot of cases, but you don't, that supply isn't always there. You might need something immediately, or your other writers are tied up doing other stuff, or whatever. But, it's a business. They definitely upcharge. That's just
Yeah.
how business works. Um, yeah, so if you have the time, cultivating your own writers can definitely be it's probably the cheapest option, but it also takes more work, right? You need to manage them. It just takes a little bit more. You have to find them. You have to teach them exactly what you want. Um, it just takes its own own kind of different, little bit different kind of a skill set rather than going to a website, forking over the money and getting the content back a week later or a couple weeks late.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, there's definitely ways to get it cheaper than, big content farms.
You said he went through 50 writers on Upwork to get 3 good ones.
I've
I've never
actually-
tried hiring a writer off Upwork.
Yeah, me either. I will say on iWriter, I feel like my luck can sometimes be about the same when I'm doing cheap content. There's just so much not great stuff. It's me kind of annoying, but it's cheap.
Cheap.
Yeah, I've never tried Upwork for writers. Let's see if I have any other questions. I think we are.
That's it.
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and call it there for today, guys. We're out of time. Yeah, thanks for showing up and asking questions as usual. Thanks for tuning in and just lurking. If you didn't ask anything, that's also appreciated. Go ahead and like the Facebook video or the YouTube video, wherever you are. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you next week, same time, same place, 12 noon CST, Central Standard Time.
Cool. And we'll see you there. Where are we going for lunch today? What are we gonna have? Some banh mi? Some something fancy?
I kind of want to go get crawfish again.
Ooh, I'm down. Yeah, that sounds good.
Crawfish and oysters.
Yes, party
They
time.
were selling some crawfish at I went to HEB with my mom this weekend. I went to visit for Easter, and yeah, you could like smell the crawfish from like half the parking lot away, and so it got me jonesing for some more.
That's a tasty treat.
It is a tasty treat.
Yeah.